saying that once again, I want to welcome you to this professional training program, the Huawei Certified ICT Associate Security version 3.0. For those who are not part of this class yesterday, we had our orientation and I introduced myself. I am Ssendi Samuel and I'm going to be your instructor for today's class, and just basically to take you through the entire course and to guide you as we grow and learn from each other. We're going to be looking at chapter 1 from the first module, and it's going to be the basic concepts of information security. Before we move to the next slide, I want to also come back to you and pose this question. Just you can either put up your hand or say mic check. When someone mentions information security, what comes to your mind? Okay, Jimmy?
Mostly trying to prevent intruders into your network, things to do with maybe a SOHO system or an enterprise system.
Okay. Thank you for sharing. I can see Anthony, your hand is up.
Yes, hello everyone. Good evening to you all. For me, when someone talks about information security, I just like in my mind there comes something like it can be the form of like they can be the measures like someone can take to be protected against the unauthorized use of information, right? Anyway, that's it. That's
all right. Thank you. Thank you for sharing. Let me also cross-check in the chat and see what our colleagues who do not want to talk to us are saying. Kindly confirm whether you're actually recording. I see indication that the class is recording. Okay. Ssendi, I tried to enroll, but my enrollment is still pending. If it is pending, I'm going to go ahead and approve. I've approved a few just before I started the class, but we shall talk about that during the break. For now, allow me to take on Jude. Your hand is up. Jude, your hand is up. Or anyone who is ready to talk to us.
Yeah, thank you, Ssendi. You can get me now?
Yes, you're loud and clear.
Yeah, I was saying that the concept of information security basically defines when does insertion of data to storage, to processing, and then the outputting of it. But anyway, all this must be done in a way that is really safe and secure. That is what I can say.
All right, thank you so much, Jude, for that detailed explanation. Then lastly, Steve, I see your hand is up.
Hello? Can everyone hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
Okay, thank you. I would like to say, as an answer for your question, when we talk about information security, I think we talk about the means to secure information. And that's all.
All right, means to secure information. Okay, thank you. Thank you for the detailed explanations. Let's move forward. So we're saying that information security is a process of, let me change my color to red. We're saying here that information security is a process of ensuring safe data communication. What to note? Process, yeah. It's a process of ensuring safe data, just like many of you have said, safe data communication, and also preventing issues such as information leakage, information modification, and disruption. We all know that if your information leaks, people or malicious people can use it either to gain competitive advantage or maybe to, to malice you, or even to, sabotage, to, do any other thing that they would want to do with your information. When someone modifies your information, still, it is not a true representation of that information. It could mislead you, and it could lead you to making wrong decisions, or it could mislead your clients or the people who are going to be relying or using your information. If your information is disrupted, just imagine if you had to access this class today and someone had hacked into the entire servers of Zoom and we are unable to access the services. We are unable to access WhatsApp per se. I'm not able to send you emails or able to send you, links via WhatsApp simply because there's a disruption in the service. Much as the information I have may still be secure, but still it is useless because it's not available. I cannot share it with you anyway. And that's why we are saying basically it's a process of ensuring that our data is safe even when you're communicating, and also to prevent issues such as information leakage, modification, or disruption. So this document describes the basic concepts and protection measures of information security, and as well as information security risks and associated assessment and also avoidance methods. Moving to the next slide. Upon completion of this course, you'll be able to describe the definition and characteristics of information security. You'll also explain the characteristics and differences between security models, and also you'll differentiate between security risks. We shall be looking at them in the later stage. So information and information security. Let us first try and understand. We have already looked at information security. What also do you think is information according to you?
Mic check, eh? Mic clear?
Yes, please.
Yeah, I
Yes,
think
please.
information is like raw data, eh?
Information is like raw data.
Yeah.
You sure it's raw data? Just asking out of curiosity.
Processed data.
Okay, someone is saying processed data. Okay, anyone else? I'm seeing your hands are up.
Samuel.
Yes, please.
Samuel.
Yes, Victor. Yes, Victor.
I think information is processed data that has got a meaning.
Processed data
from
with
which
a meaning.
decision
Okay.
can be made.
Meaningful data.
Maybe just to add on, data that has been given meaning.
Okay, given meaning. All right. I'm seeing Emmanuel. Okay, your hand is down. Frederick Odong, your hand is up.
I spoke already. I was the one who said that data that has been given meaning.
All right, Desire.
Facts and figures that can be processed to make more meaningful decisions.
Okay, Desire is saying facts and figures that can be processed to make more meaningful decisions. Okay, let me lastly take Steve. Steve, your hand is up.
I forgot to roll down my hand.
Oh, okay.
To put down my hand.
Okay, I will help you lower it down for you. Okay, Anthony, your hand is still up. You also forgot. Or I help you lower it down. Okay, I will lower it down. So thank you for for sharing. Let me first clear my screen. Okay. So we are saying that from this document, information can be communicated in a number of different ways. We all agree. We receive emails, we receive, we read books and, letters, sometimes from, signals like radar signals, and of course, from intelligence and so many other things. But it also exists in a number of multiple forms. Yeah, we can store our information in forms of videos. We can also still store our information in forms of audios, in forms of texts, in forms of OLB objects, in forms of printed materials like written papers, like emails, designs, pictures, name it, etc. and etc. Even on slides, like this particular slide, it contains some piece of information which I'm sharing with you and which I'm distributing to you. So as security engineers, I want us to draw our attention to the kind of information we're interested in. We're interested in the information which is created, received, and maintained as evidence. Any information you would wish to maintain as evidence, and information by an organization or a person in pursuance of legal obligation, all in the transaction of business. Yes, and this includes these are some of the examples here, like your emails, like your letters, like the transaction data. You would wish to keep your transaction data safe. Just imagine if you went to your bank and you withdrew, let's say $50,000, sorry, 50,000 Kenyan shillings, and there's no record of that. You don't have a record on your end. Also, the bank itself is not, does not have the record whether you withdrew that money or not. There's no transaction data. That transaction never happened. You already see the loophole there. So it would be a bit dangerous. Yeah, just imagine if the questions you are going to do in your final exams, like let's say the test questions, they leak out there and everyone knows, Huawei papers, exam questions leaked, the people doing exam questions and they leaked and they're all over internet. People will not give credibility to that paper anymore because they will know, like, whatever it is, it's not authentic, regardless of whether you decided to read or not. That's why people behind the systems need to make sure that they keep those questions secure and free and integrity and with integrity. Of course, also state secrets. This is self-explanatory. I don't think I have to talk about it. But and this definition here is derived from some of the guidelines that are available. That is the guideline of I want to hide this guy here. I'm hiding something away from the ISO guidelines and also the IEC guidelines of management of IT security, that is the GMITS. So let us move to the next slide. Okay, so let us look at information security. We already talked about it and you gave me what you thought information security was. So information security, it refers to the preservation, of the confidentiality, of integrity, and availability of data through security technologies. Still, just to throw it back to you, what comes to your mind when you hear the word confidential or confidentiality?
Hello? Something safe.
Something safe. Okay, anyone else?
Yes, hello.
Mic check.
I think confidentiality means privacy.
Privacy. Okay. Anyone else? Okay,
I would say, I would also say secrecy.
secrecy.
Hello.
We'll take on some hands. Jude, your hand is up.
Yeah, confidentiality seeks to explain the ability for one to consume information that is supposed to consume or use.
Okay, for authorized users, in summary. All right, so thank you all for sharing. What comes to your mind when you hear the word integrity? Yes, Trevor?
Yes, so integrity would mean data should not be tampered with. It should remain in its original form that was originally submitted.
Original form and not tampered with. And then what comes to your mind when you hear available or availability? Ogole, your hand is up.
Availability actually is like all members can access the information in the database.
All authorized users can access
data in the database.
Can access data in the,
Or
is it only the
data.
database? Okay, but they can
Yeah,
access
data.
the intended information, right?
Oh yeah, that is it.
All right. Unless when someone has any addition, but
I wanted to add on the integrity. I
Yes,
think
yes.
it has to do with accuracy and consistency of data.
That is true. Accuracy and consistency of data. That is true. All right. So here we are saying that these technologies, because we said we are making sure that we are preserving the confidentiality, the integrity, and the availability of data through security technologies. And what are these technologies? These technologies include computer, software, and hardware, network, and key technologies. And organizational management measures throughout the information lifecycle. That is from the process of, generating the data, transmitting it, exchanging it, processing it, and also storing of the same. And we are saying that these are also very, very essential. So information security, just to summarize it all, it is to protect hardware and our software and the systems, that the data or the system data on the information network from occasional or malicious damage, from protecting it from it being tampered with, and also protecting it from leaking out there. It also ensures continuous and reliable systems as well as uninterrupted information services. This is basically information security, right? We'll clear my screen. So in case, we have not protected and we have not preserved our confidentiality and we have not preserved our integrity of our data and it is not available, what do you think are some of the, what do you think will be affected if some of our information assets are damaged?
National security.
National security. You can give us an example how that can be, how it can be affected.
Let's say maybe government secrets are the government is hacked and the state secrets are maybe stolen by an enemy country and they can use that as leverage maybe and start a war.
Okay. All right. Thank you. Anyone else?
Yeah, individual information. individual personal personal information. For example, your visa card identification, blah blah blah.
All right. Anyone else?
Medical information, medical records. Sorry. Yeah.
Medical result. In case the medical records are affected, what do you think could be the challenge?
There are many challenges that could arise. For example, maybe if it's compromised and deleted, then the medical history could go missing, and that could cause issues. Then also maybe if it's stolen, some medical conditions are better kept confidential, so its leakage could lead to certain issues.
Very true. All right. Let us move. We have exhausted it all. So we are saying here that our national security could be, in danger in case our information assets are stored. Still, even our operating systems and, of course, even continuous development may be affected, personal privacy and properties. And this is as a result of us not paying attention to our information security. So the aim of information security is to protect data against threats through technical means and effective management. What comes to your mind when you hear the word threat?
Mic check.
Yes, please go ahead. Yes, please go ahead.
Yes, a threat may mean something that can cause harm or damage to either a system or a person, an individual.
That can cause harm or damage either to a system or to an individual. All right, let us also look at just the information security development. We are going to look at this in a more detailed slide, but we are seeing here that in the early 1990s, there was a stage which was called communication secrecy. During the communication secrecy, there was limited communication technologies and this dispersedly stored data. We went ahead to the post-1960s, and this stage was referred to as the information security stage. Here, internet was developing at a very rapid rate, and its development brought about new challenges and threats to information security. And in the 1980s, please don't try and cram the years. It's not necessary or important to you as a security engineer. If you're cramming them, then I think you would be in a history class. I have a class which I taught recently, and there was a student who called me and asked me if I have a formula on how best I can memorize the years of these different stages. Not particularly this course, but there's another course which had some history for something. Please do not try and cram the years. It has just hit me and I remembered about it. So you're saying that in the 1980s, this was a stage which was known as information assurance stage. What comes to your mind when you hear the word assurance? Yes, Naboth, your hand is up.
I think assurance means something that was there to be safe.
Fair to be?
Yeah. Like something that is very safe.
Something that is very safe. Okay, thank you for sharing. Anthony in the chat is saying being sure of something. Yes, Hussein, your hand is up. Yes, please.
I think assurance would mean like safe and acquired anytime needed.
Safe and acquired anytime needed. Yes, Jude, your hand is up.
Yeah,
thank you.
That stage I think explains the time when people believed in others that they could actually give out the information and those others would keep the information safe. Take, for example, giving your bank details and your land titles to the bank, and then you are assured or guaranteed that they're going to keep your title safe.
All right. Thank you all for sharing. So we are saying that in this stage, information-based security replaced the traditional security. And we are going to look at this in a more detailed slide. Now, this takes us to this beautiful picture here of some guy looking at us. And I just want to ask a few questions from you now. What comes to your mind when you see this person? I just want to hear your thoughts. This picture. Yes, Hussein, your hand is up. But you can also just go ahead and say mic check and speak to me, because it's good that you mute yourselves as I'm speaking, so it's okay. You can just say mic check and then speak to the class.
Yes, Ssendi.
This gentleman.
Yes, please. Charles,
mic check.
Yes, please, go ahead.
Yeah, the photo looks like as if the oil field.
As if it's
looks
in the
like
oil
an
field.
oil dam.
I think of the World War II.
It looks like a winter season.
The Second World War.
World War II. Sorry. World War. Hey, what is happening to my World War II? Anyone
Mic
else?
check.
Visionary guy. Someone is saying visionary guy. Go ahead.
It looks like a Chinese man.
It looks like a Chinese man. His
check.
face. Yes, go ahead.
Yeah,
like a Japanese,
seems the guy is
in a
moving in
certain factory.
awkward time.
Okay, someone is saying awkward time. Gloria in the chat said cold place.
Yeah, he's moving.
Awkward time. He's what?
As if he's moving at a time he's not supposed to be moving.
As if he's moving at a wrong time. Okay, how can I summarize that? Moving at the wrong time.
And seemingly observing something.
And seemingly reserving something.
Observing.
Observing. Oh, okay.
Yeah. Observing.
He's surrounded by heavy machinery.
Yeah, he's operating a certain machine.
Machinery, he's operating a certain machine.
It was just in a cold environment.
Okay, cold environment. It was already talked about. They already talked about it. Security-wise, looks like by top. Yes, please. Yes, please. Okay. So thank you all for sharing. Let's try and find out what this picture was.
Another
Yes,
thing,
please.
sir. Maybe he's hiding something because he's covered his head and the hand.
Okay.
The face is the only one that is visible.
Yes.
Okay.
Mr. Ssendi.
Someone is saying
Ssendi.
Yes, please.
Like to me, his facial expression shows like he was trying to give out some information, but like these soldiers use the codes. What like that facial expression of his.
Okay. All right.
Mr. Ssendi.
Yes, please.
To me, I see uncertainty to that guy. He didn't know like what comes next, so he was like.
Okay. All right. Thank you for sharing. Maxwell is saying that he looks like he's in a noisy place. But how have you seen noise in the picture? Okay. Someone is saying, okay. All right, so you can mute your microphones. It's starting to become a bit noisy. So let's see what this picture was about. So there's an oil field in China, an oil well, and China invited bids, yeah, for oil production equipment. But the Japanese intelligence experts used this simple picture you're seeing here to uncover the following secrets about the oil field, right? This was a picture of this guy. Probably maybe he took the picture and he was sending it to, maybe to his wife. He was called Wang Jingzi. And he was probably maybe taking the picture. You know how you can be at work and take the picture, which was okay. It was not against the company policies or in any way whatsoever. And probably maybe he was sending it back at home to his wife or girlfriend or even his kids to maybe, I'm here, you can, look at me and, feel my presence at that particular time. But when the Japanese people landed onto this picture, they were able to identify that, you know what, this place must be located between 46 degrees north and 48 degrees, I think it was supposed to be south, as indicated by the clothing of this guy. Because he looked like he was, putting on some heavy clothing, because he is in a cold environment, like many of you have been able to identify. And when they run the photo through their, algorithm or intelligence systems, it was able to see that the only cold place that would require someone to keep warm like this would be in a place which is between this, these degrees and these degrees. It's a cold place. And also they were able to tell the diameter of the well inferred from the handle rack that he was holding. They were able to tell the diameter. After doing that, they were able to know the exact kind of equipment they would need in a very cold place. They knew the exact kind of equipment they would supply to China, and they knew exactly how much it was going to cost them. So of course they had to come up with a better bid. Imagine if other companies, not even just imagine, just feel for those other companies which had also put in their bids and they knew nothing about the oil well. They just saw an advert. Maybe the Chinese government is inviting bids from, oil production, manufacturing, equipment manufacturing companies to come and supply us with equipment or to take on this contract. And let's say Shell, Total, Asia, Israel put in their bids, but Japanese had more detailed, a bid which directly spoke to the exact well where this guy took the picture from. Do you think the bid was free and fair? Much as Japanese would the bid, but do you think it was free and fair?
No, it wasn't.
It wasn't free and fair because
it wasn't fair.
Yes, one party knew all the details and the insider information, and of course it used that information to its advantage. And that's how information leakage can influence some of the decision. And information can be leaked through anything. These days, even people, when you take your pictures, automatically your geolocation will be tagged on that picture. So people can know exactly where you took your picture from and when you took the picture. Okay. Someone is saying the bid was free and fair. Wanda, why do you think the bid was free and fair? Okay. We said in the early 1900s, communication technologies were underdeveloped and data was stored in different locations. Information security was limited to just the physical security of information, as long as you are able to guard your warehouse, and it is usually to be common in military bases. As long as you had, your base protected and no people accessing it minus, permission, your information was regarded to be, secure. And for people to transfer, data from one location to another, they just used to use cipher-based security for communication, and mainly they used stream cipher. So as long as information was in a relatively secure place and unauthorized users were prohibited from accessing the information, data security could be guaranteed because there were no connections. They were not connected to the internet. They were only communicating amongst themselves. And this was in the early 1900s. But then in the information security stage, this is when the internet started to boom. So since the 1990s, the internet technologies had developed rapidly and information leakage have increased. So as a result, in addition to confidentiality, to integrity and availability, information security began also to focus on some more principles and objectives. Some principles like controllability and non-repudiation. This is when I ask you, what comes to your mind when you hear the word controllability?
Mic check.
Yes, please.
Control.
Oh, I think my co-hosts have muted my participant. You can go ahead and unmute yourself and talk to us.
Controllability would look like you have full charge over your system and you can take charge of it. Basically, that's what I think it is.
Okay. All right, you can take charge of it. I have some interesting answers in the chat. It's ability to control. Controllability is ability to control. You need permission to access information. And also, what comes to your mind when you hear the word non-repudiation?
Mic check. I think non-repudiation is whereby the sender and the receiver are not able to deny the information they sent or received.
Exactly. With non-repudiation, you cannot deny that, you know what, much as the email address is showing that it came from me, I am not the one who sent it. As long as it's your email address, they will arrest you and even arrest your clothes. And there's no way you'll be able to prove beyond reasonable doubt that it was not you who is responsible. Unless when there's an audit trail showing that someone really actually hacked into your account, but still you'll be held responsible for, not taking care of, as long as it's from your end, from your side. So that is non-repudiation. Now, we are saying that as a result, we have added these principles. We looked already at confidentiality, and we say that confidentiality helps us to ensure that information can be obtained only by authorized users, right? By authorized users. And we also looked at integrity, and we said that integrity ensures that there's accuracy and integrity of information and its processing methods, that it is not tampered with. It's in its true form and in its originality nature, from when it is originated from the sender to the receiver. We also looked at availability, and we said that it ensures that all the users can obtain the desired information as and when they need the information. We are looking at controllability, and we're saying that this implements security monitoring for us to be able to protect our information and have control over our system to protect them against attacks or mitigate the threats. We also looking at non-repudiation, and we are saying that non-repudiation helps to prevent the information sender or receiver from denying the information. As long as you received it and someone at your workplace, it is you communicate by emails, and someone tells you about the deadline through email, and it's your official channel of communication. You can't say, you know what, you fired me, I did not see your email, I did not read your email, so I had the right to come to work that particular month, and you have to pay me for this month. No one will be on your side. They'll just tell you, boss, go and read through the principle of non-repudiation, and you'll understand. So basically, what we're trying to say is that information security contains all these guys, from confidentiality all the way to these principles which we have looked at today. And in general, information security is to ensure the effectiveness of electronic information. We said that confidentiality means resisting passive attacks by making sure that we prevent information leakage or unauthorized users from accessing the system, whereas we said that integrity helps us from restricting active attacks and also preventing unauthorized tampering of our information. And with availability, we said we need to make sure that our information are accessible and ready to be used by the authorized users anytime they want. Accountability helps us to implement security monitoring on our information and also on our information systems. Let me clear my screen. So the information stage assurance, which we talked about, and you told me that assurance is giving positive confidence that we can trust that this is going the right way. So business-oriented information security assurance. And we are looking at here on the business side, the different service traffic with various risks and protection methods. They're all looked at and catered for. And with information security system, there's cohesive security management and technical protection, proactive defense, but not passive protection. Yeah. What to note out from here is proactive. You don't wait to do, passive or, reactive kind of protection. You have to do proactive. You need to anticipate what would the hacker want to, exploit in my system. What would, someone want to, how would someone want to, gain unauthorized access to my premises and my server room? How can I be able to protect that and prevent that from happening? That is what we are meaning by proactive defense. And of course, with management, this looks at the talent development and system establishment for system for security management. We want to look at this case, the WannaCry case in China. And in this case, it affected almost the parts of China, and so many people were affected, not only China, even elsewhere around the world, but China was mostly hit by this WannaCry. In 2017, the WannaCry ransom crypto worm propagated through an internal blue, and it infected over 100,000 computers, causing a loss of about $8 billion US. As you can see here on their ATM cards, they were blocked out from the energy that they were using to pay and all their transport systems. You would get a pop-up message on your screen telling you, know what, boss, you have been locked out and kindly pay this amount of money to this particular account for you to be able to access your device. The only option you had, either you had to pay the money or you had to let go of your files and everything, and remove your hard drives. Just go ahead and format your hard drives and bypass them. That's how good the crypto worm was. So what it did, it exploited the vulnerability which was on port 405, port 445 on Windows operating system. And the WannaCry ransom crypto worm, it had the ability to self-replicate, and also it had a kind of transport mechanism to automatically spread itself. So among the infected Windows operating systems, specifically in China, and those on campus networks, the students suffered the most. Because students have a tendency, hey boss, help me with this movie, give me this PDF, do you have this, flash in, flash out? And by the end of the day, the campus network was greatly affected in China, and people ended up losing their laboratory data. And China is so good in research and also in laboratory data, so that means a big deal to them. And of course, their final year projects were locked out and they were encrypted, so they either had to pay or lose the entire projects. So the application systems and database files of some large enterprises were also encrypted and they failed to run properly. And this is what happened in China around around 2017. So let me ask, who has heard of the, I think I talked about during the orientation, but who has heard of the, how do they call it, the Microsoft Exchange exploitation? Anyone?
Nope.
You have not heard of it? It has been very common in the US. Even the US government was hit hard. Anyone? Come on, guys. Come on, guys.
The question.
Like, who has heard of the Microsoft Exchange or what they call Microsoft Active Exploitation? It is just basically Microsoft Exchange exploitation.
But I always hear it, but it's common in Europe.
It's common in Europe, yes. And early this year, it has been very common in the US.
So what does it do?
Well, it was, of course, it was an attack. It was a vulnerability. It was ongoing, but one of the things that were attacked, of course, so many companies were attacked and were hijacked. What is same as APC Windows update error? I have not. Okay. Okay, I was trying to read through the chat. So, but also the US Energy Department came out to confirm that it was hit by the Sunburst Hack. When you get some time, please kindly go ahead and read about the Sunburst Hack. I'm throwing that because these are some of the things that should interest you as, you know, as a security. I've posted the hack in the chat. You go ahead when you get some time and read about it later on, and read about the hacks. And of course, there are so many other hacks that have been taking place. But around December last year, the US came up and said, you know what, there's this vulnerability and the hackers have been in our systems for a very long time. They've been reading our emails, they've been reading our files in the cloud, they've been intercepting all our communications that we have been having via Microsoft Exchange. So, and so many other companies, but just that some companies are good at keeping quiet and not coming up because they need to keep you, their clients, they need to keep you at their fingertips, and you need to, you know, they need to instill confidence in them. And some of them just decide to handle, you know, issues at a very, very confidential level. So we're looking at these different things. We're looking at the different cases in China, and we had looked at the WannaCry case, which happened in 2017. But we go ahead and look at another case, the Ocean Locusts, Ocean Lotus. So the Ocean Lotus. Since April 2012, the Ocean Lotus group carried out targeted penetration and attacks on important sectors of China, and this included government, scientific research institutions, maritime institutions, and maritime constructions and shipping enterprises. These attacks were intended to obtain confidential information, intercept intelligence sent out by attacked computers, and enable the computers to automatically send related intelligence. As long as there's intelligence being shared between the company or the government agencies, this attack was meant to, to steal that kind of intelligence. So they used two kind of methods. They used what they call the spear phishing, and they also used the watering hole. This is what they called it, the watering hole. So with the spear phishing, they used a Trojan horse, which was put part of an attachment on the email, and it was sent to the targeted computers as an attachment. And when you get it and open it, boom, your computer is affected. These emails came in a form which is appeasing, like let's say scholarships, if you're a student, let's say salary reform scheme, if your baby have been working and they've been expecting a promotion, or promotion offers or promotion form, and it looks authentic, it looks like it's coming from your organization. You open the email, you actually even don't notice that your computer is attacked, because for it to just install a backdoor on your computer, and the backdoor will keep on sending the particular information that the hackers are interested in. And then they use the watering hole method, and the hacker exploited the vulnerabilities of the websites that most of the targeted individuals or organization visited. If they knew that they were targeting one of you here, and they knew you visit maybe the LMS, or they knew you visit Huawei, they would go ahead and do something about it. And once they send you like a link, like you say your account, LMS has requested to reset your password, but they just go ahead and play around with the domain, and for you think it's coming from LMS, you click on it, it takes you nowhere, or it can even redirect you back to LMS, and you think everything was okay, but in actual sense you have given permission to the hacker to install a backdoor on your computer. And I saw someone sharing something about Smanya Win Data, Smanya WhatsApp anniversary. You have no idea what you're installing on your computers, or you have no idea what the hackers are interested in getting. For you may think that you have opened it, you have gone ahead and filled in the information, and you have gone ahead and shared the link on WhatsApp, and you go away thinking that nothing is going to happen. Yes, nothing may happen, because probably you're not the targeted individual. You have nothing that the hacker would be interested in, but one day you will be a millionaire and you make the same mistake, and the hacker gets to learn that you have a lot of money on your account, and you actually probably do transact from your phone, and the rest will be history. So kindly just be curious on the links that you share, and those are dubious things, schemes that interest you in doing quite a number of things. So here we are looking at what could be the causes of such attacks. So I've been talking about those attacks. In your own understanding, what do you think could cause those attacks? Mic check. Anyone?
Mic check.
Yes, please.
This is Jude. These attacks mostly people would want to attack you because they want to be superior to you in terms of their security. The competition between, say, the great countries, say Russia and America and China and what. So they try to do those attacks so that they're able to be superior to the other.
Okay, so they be superior to another. So I would just call them like terrorists, because that would be like an attack against the country. Okay. Yes, please.
Yes. Mic check.
Hey, please, when you say mic check, go ahead and speak. We'll be listening.
Some do these attacks for financial gain.
Okay. Remember, we're not asking for why, but what.
Mic check.
Yes, please. Okay. Yes, John.
Hello?
Yes, please.
May I think what could bring such attack is when actually the design of the system, for example, if someone has designed the system and at the end of the day, someone has not made sure that the system is secure in terms of the passwords and all that stuff, that means someone can easily hack in if they see that the system is not capable of security.
Okay. Yes, please.
Mic check.
Yes, please.
Competition.
Some of the causes is out of curiosity of, let's say these guys that are coming up, they're learning how to work. So they will try to find out vulnerabilities in systems out of curiosity to prove that they can do it.
Okay, out of curiosity to prove that they can do it.
Would that be knowledge acquisition?
That would be, we need to focus at what causes them, minus focusing so much on the reason why they are doing that. And that's why that could be now hackers. Yes, please. They could be either white hackers, gray hackers, or black hackers. Yes, please.
So one of the reasons of them can be a breach in confidentiality, rather breach in like integrity among the people who work for the system.
So like human error?
Exactly. Let me say like a bank and someone gives their friend like the access codes, or writes them in a book and the book is purchased, something like that.
Okay. All right, thank you. Let me also see what's in the chat. Okay.
Mic check.
Yes, please.
I just wanted to add on that what is so common nowadays sometimes is human and environmental factors, especially out of curiosity or ignorance. Sometimes we tend to go to links that could be sent from hackers, and also visiting sites that are not so secure. It has always been a cause for this, especially we're giving in so much information on social media about our personal lives.
All right, okay. Thank you all for sharing. We can see in this diagram here already that one thing that is common, we have direct causes and indirect causes. But one thing that is common on both causes is the human aspect. Are we taking note of that? And we shall come to realize that as well as much of these things may cause, attacks. They lead to attacks on us.
Those are the connected
backdoors, denial of service attacks. Could you please mute your microphone? Viruses, all information copy of human and environmental errors. But most of the times, the human element plays a role in some of these other things, isn't it? And more frequently, it is the human negligence that leads to, to a breach in our security or to such attacks, isn't it? So we are saying here, we have looked at virus, we have looked at vulnerabilities or weaknesses in the system, we have looked at different Trojan horses, backdoor programs, denial of service attacks, etc. But there are so many things that can cause attacks on our information security. There are so many of them, we can't finish them. And also on this side, in that indirect cause, it may not directly be that like they're trying to, cause information breach, but somehow because of these factors, there's an attack on our system. Let us first look at the human and environmental factors. Here, the environmental threats can be, where maybe there is there's a lot of heat, maybe floods, that will come and, your server room is flooded, and of course there's no availability of data and your information is destroyed, or maybe fire, or, and so many other environmental factors. All it could be even, something as small as a rat coming and biting your cable. Yeah, something as small as a rat coming and biting your cable. And now when it comes to information system complexity, here we are looking at the process of you coming up with your information system. We are saying that the information system design, the security is usually not given a lot of attention and detail, right? the programmer or the designer or the analyst, and this is a common practice, they will focus so much on they'll focus so much on other things. And because it's the humans who are coming up with the systems, humans are not prone to errors, and humans are not perfect. So they end up having some kinds of vulnerabilities or weaknesses in the system, which later on the hacker can identify and exploit, and uses that weakness or vulnerability to attack our systems. There's also the structure of the system. As you're coming up with our system, how is it evolved? What is its structure? By the virtue of us being human beings, we want easy things, right? Even as the programmers and the analysts are coming up with that information system, they always keep that in mind. And this puts them between a hard place and a rock, because the more they make the system secure, the more they will make it complicated for the end user to use it. You will all agree, isn't it? Imagine if for you to use WhatsApp, you had to, whenever you open it, you had to put in a passcode. When it sends you a verification code on your email, then you put in a fingerprint, and then you have a security key, which also must put in for you to be able to access it. Yes, it would be very secure, and it will be close to impossible for someone from opening your messages in case they have access to your unlocked phone, but it would not be, user-friendly to you, and you would definitely not use the product. I've also seen this a lot at the university. I am in charge of the e-learning platform. But students want even us to take away the passwords entirely, because they're saying, logging in gives us a hard time, something as basic as a username and password, and some people are complaining about it already. So then the structure, the information system may need to support multiple types of terminals, and these terminals sometimes include like the employee terminals and remote user, mobile terminals, and maybe sometimes also connecting to the different other APIs available. You heard of the MTN, Stanbic, and Airtel hack? I think it was last year. It was last year, right? In Uganda, for those who are in Uganda. Yes. It was last year. Yes, hackers were able to gain access to their secure systems, not because they had no secure system, but because of the structure of their system, for them to be able, like for example, Stanbic, for it to be able to implement mobile payments, it had to use an API which was a third-party API for Pegasus Pay, right? They had to use an API, and the hacker exploited the vulnerabilities between the integration of this API to their systems. And they had taken a lot of time. Yes, they had taken a lot of time, securing their system, but just because of this integration to Pegasus Pay, that API, the hackers were able to exploit it, and they lost a lot of money during that time when their services were down. Of course, some of them come out and say that they did not lose. I'll stop at that. There are some bankers on this forum. But you see, also the structure matters. Remember, as a designer, you're coming up with a system, but it's not going to interact with itself. It's going to also interact with other things. So that also sometimes may cause or lead to attacks in the system. And of course, also the application itself sometimes can lead to attacks in the system. So the significance of building information security is basically, the network or information network has become the foundation of economic prosperity, social stability, and national development. We are all relying basically on information and networks. It's what we do every day. It's what drives us every day, almost every day, apart from, of course, family, love, and friends. So, but information profoundly influences global economic integration. You know that. And if national strategy, adjustment, and security priorities also, those decisions are made based on that information. So information security has transformed from just being a technical issue into a matter of national security worldwide. You agree with me. And it is also applicable, this is its importance, but it's also applicable in so many areas today of the world, like let's say the command centers, the control communications, computer and intelligence systems. These are usually used by government, and the e-commerce platforms, the biomedical systems, the intelligence transport systems, the education systems, name it. There are so many systems where, of course, the banking sector as well, and etc. and so on and so forth. They all rely on information security. So now let us look at information security risk and management. What comes to your mind when you hear the word risk? Class, are we still together?
So when I hear the word risk, I can equate it to, let me say, anything that poses a danger to a network or an information system. Maybe to elaborate more, if let me say
Mic check.
Risk.
Mic check.
Yes, please. Your audio was not a
Risk.
bit clear. Yes, please.
Like a risk is like a threat to the system. Eh? It's a threat.
Mic check.
Yes,
a risk
please.
is a threat that can be exploited.
A risk is a threat that can be exploited. Okay.
Mic check.
Yes, please.
Kind of exposure when you are really open to hackers or any kind of vulnerability.
Okay. All right. Anyone else?
Mic check. It is a possibility of, a risk is a possibility of a loss or a possible attack.
Okay. That could lead to damage.
Yes.
All right. You're all correct. And
check.
basically, yes, please go ahead.
Exposed to danger or harm.
Okay. Thank you. All right. So someone was saying that I repeat the previous slide of importance. Basically, this is the significance of building information. Like, why do we need to build information security? Why do we need to pay attention to information security? And we're looking at its importance. We already said that we rely on information networks today, and it has become the foundation of our economic prosperity, right? One of the most wealthiest companies do not sell hardware, do not sell anything tangible, but most of even the services they offer are free of charge, but they make a lot of money. Do you agree?
It's true.
But the only thing that they sell is, after them mining, of course, data from us, they sell that data and sell it to themselves and to each other. You will go on YouTube today and you search about what? And you search about new iPhone, New iPhone what? Let's say you search about new iPhone 11, right? Or 12. You search about iPhone 12. When you go back to your social media accounts, when you go back to Facebook, let's say, right? YouTube is owned by Google, right? Facebook is owned by Facebook. But the ads you will see after there, you will be shocked. You will see Jumia selling you discount 20%, iPhone 12, free delivery, an ad. You scroll down, you'll see eBay, iPhone 12, or even other suggestions. But how did Facebook get to know that you actually were interested in iPhone 12? I don't know if you're getting the point. I don't know if it has ever happened to you. And it has even got worse today. If you're using WhatsApp, go in your chat today and send your friend a message and you tell them, do you know where I can buy something? You know where I can buy a new car on WhatsApp, and send it to them, and go on Google and search and see the ads that Google will bring for you, and search about anything else. You go on Facebook and you scroll through your timeline, or go on Twitter and see the sponsored ad that will be sent to you. So meaning all these companies have an agreement to mine data from us, and of course to sell data to themselves so that they can gain economic prosperity. I don't know if I'm making sense. If you had never paid attention to that, you can also pay more attention to it, and you'll
very
be
common.
amazed at how much more you can learn. All right. So we are basically saying that information profoundly influences the global economic integration and national strategy adjustment and security priorities. Information security has transformed from a technical issue into a matter of national security. So it's no longer just a technical issue that you need to keep your files secure. Also, at the national level, the governments are paying so much attention and detail to information security. And that's why they're always coming up with acts and acts and acts about information security every single day. So, and this is basically its applicability. Where can information security be applied? And we said it can be applied almost in all kinds of systems around and available today. I hope we are okay, Gloria. So we're looking at information risk. Now we have these different risks. We have the physical, we have the network, we have the system risks, we have the information risk, application risks, and management risks. What I'm going to do at this time, I'm going to put you in rooms. And after, when I put you in rooms, I'm going to request you to discuss amongst your peers. You discuss, and after discussing, you are going to choose your leader who will come back to the class after the time has elapsed, when the time has elapsed, to share with us what you guys discussed about these risks. Yeah. Let me first read something in the chat here. For those who are interested in this, talk about data, go and search about Facebook versus Apple battle in court now. Yeah, those are some of the things that we want to read about. That is from Trevor. So I'm creating the groups now, and you'll be automatically assigned to a group. And kindly just pay attention to the name of your group. The names of your group will show, and then you go there and you discuss about those risks in your groups. And then after, when you're done, you come and share with the group, right? Network risks. Just creating the rooms now. It won't take me long. System risks, and then information risks, and then what is this? This is application risks, and then lastly is management risks. All right. So this is what you're going to do. This is what you're going to do. This is what you're going to do. You are going to you're going to be in your breakout rooms for the next 10 minutes. You're going to you're going to choose your leader. You're going to discuss amongst your peers. You're going to discuss and talk about what you think the physical risk is. Talk about it just briefly, because you have like just 2 minutes to share your presentation. Just maybe talk about what network risk is,
Sorry, sir,
depending
talk
on your
about what?
group. You will see your group. You're going to be assigned groups automatically. So you'll be in position to see your group, right? So no worries. You'll be in position to see your group. And also I want to mention that your tendency is being recorded automatically from the system. I didn't find it wise sharing the lists, but I have them with me. I share them with the people who are concerned. But as long as you're being part of the class, your tendency is taken automatically. So this is what you're going to do. Let me repeat for those who have not heard, and kindly I want you to participate. You're going to break out into different groups, and each group is going to be assigned one risk to discuss. You're either going to discuss physical risks, network risks, system risks, information risk, application risk, or management risk, depending on your group. You will see it when you're joining the group or when they're adding you to the group. You can always read about the details of the group. So after discussing, you just use 10 minutes, and then after that, you will choose amongst yourself who is going to be your group leader, and then your group leader will be in position to discuss for us what you guys were able to come up with. All right, so having said that, I'm now sending you back to the rooms.
Just a question.
Yes, please.
Question. On what platform are we going to discuss this risk?
You are going to discuss from here. You're just going to break out from, but you're going to discuss from here right now.
Okay.
All right. So you're going into your groups now. I'm sending you right now. Kindly, if you have not joined your group, just go ahead and join your group and you discuss with your peers. Just see the group where you belong and you go ahead and you discuss with your peers. If you have just joined the meeting now, we are saying that we have broke into different groups, and we are going to use about 10 minutes to discuss about the different risks depending on your group. Kindly, if you're still on this forum, just join your group. You look out for the invitation that you have and you join your breakout room so that you'll be added to your group and you discuss with your peers. If you're still on the call, it means you have not yet joined your group. Albert and Jacinta, just join your room and you'll be able to discuss with your peers. Jacinta? All right.
Yes, please. Hello.
Hello.
Yeah, we are on, but I think the
We are
instructor is
back. We are back, but other groups are not yet back.
The instructor is on. Everyone is
Yes.
back. All groups are back. I was just waiting for you to, first breathe and breathe and breathe and breathe.
Oh, we are breathing.
Okay, you're done breathing.
We are breathing.
All
We are
right.
breathing. Sir.
All right, that's okay. So let me see. Who should we start with? All right, let us start with the physical risks.
Yes, hello everyone.
Hello.
Yes, my name is Dennis. I'm representing the group for physical risk. In our discussion, we found out that physical risk, those are the potential risk that that always happen to the hardwares of our system. We came to find out that on our physical risk and be something on the unstable power supply. Get something on humidity. That's when the room is a bit cold. The housing hardware. And then also on the external, we came to find out that we have threat like lightning, floods, earthquake. And then on the human, we have the human risk. We found out to be the theft, vandalism of the infrastructure, and we have found something like social engineering. So those are some of the few discussions on physical risk as pertaining security. Thank you.
All right, thank you for sharing. But before you go, I'm going to ask, is there anyone who has a question for him?
Okay, mic check.
Yes.
Could someone breaking in and carrying your hard disk be part of physical risk?
Yes, please. So long as it's already hardware components. Because carrying my hard disk, that's already my hardware components, so which it contains my information or my data. So that falls also under the physical risk. Any more questions?
Okay, that will be all. But let me ask you, did you take off some time to get to know each other? Could you just tell us about 2 or 3 members from your group?
I have Mr. Robert. Let me just write. I have not mastered all names, but I think I know all of them. I have just a second.
Are you looking at?
Yeah, I have them, but okay, the minutes that you gave us for it was not enough to like do other thing, but we went straight to the discussion of our topic of the physical risk. Yeah.
All right, but it's
But
important that you get to know the people you interact with and you talk to at least in every meeting. It's always good practice. You at least get to know at least 1 or 2 people.
I think in the next room
that was just a
breakout,
teaser. No worries, it doesn't contribute anything to what you had to discuss, but it's just a soft skill, which I believe will also help you if you learn how to apply it. So let us see what Team Network has got for us. Team Network.
All right. My name is Paul John. Network risk is a kind of risk got when someone connects to a public Wi-Fi or installs or fails to install a firewall on his computer. Failure to install antiviruses and letting other persons gaining access to your network. So risk.
Okay. All right.
That's what I got.
All right. Thank you, Paul, for sharing. Anyone who has a question for Paul?
And addition to what Paul has said.
All right.
We also we defined network risks as risks that are got or that we're subjected to when we are connected with the other persons. So it could be a local network or a metropolitan network or a wider network, as long as there's a kind of like connection or where there's a network where we are member hosts. And there are so many things that can lead us into those risks. Maybe like connecting to public Wi-Fi's, as he said, failure to install firewalls on our networks, and even failure to install genuine antiviruses that can protect us, visiting untrusted sites, and also kind of like clicking or trying to explore most of the adwares that we find on that pop up on our computers. And then also somebody mentioned denial of service as being one of the network attacks, and then also computer viruses. Thank you.
Maybe also to add on a little bit, poor cabling. Let me say like connection. Let me say you have a server rack, and that's where your switches are, and then you misconnect those ports because they're many. Because at our place we had that scenario one time whereby there was one port that was connected to the VLAN of the staff. Thank God the students were somehow ignorant. No one exploited it, but we found it out.
Okay. All right. Thank you for sharing. Now let us go to team risk, system risk.
Yeah, Bruno Kato is my name, and I was in a team of system risk. Was with Jude. He was trying to take some notes. I think maybe his connection, maybe data got done. I don't know, but we found out that
it's now on.
Oh, okay.
is now on.
Yeah, but you can continue, please. I've just joined.
Oh, okay. So we found out that a system which comprises of hardware and software could basically, and even information, it can have threats, it can have risks, and most especially like hardware failure or software failure. The malware can also be a risk to the system, since the system is quite big, having housing a lot of stuff, and that and even viruses can be the risks to the system. That is as far as I can remember. Also maybe human error. Someone uninterruptedly maybe unplugs something. Can also be a risk to, let's say, to part of the system. Let's say the hard drive, it can corrupt. So those are part of the, I think I can remember that we talked about. Thank you.
Thank you for sharing. Anyone who has a question for him?
Hello, not a question, but also an addition. The system risk could be also some misconfigurations or some, let's say, some services that are running. For instance, you mentioned earlier on Exchange, Microsoft Exchange. There are some services that if you leave them running, or there are some services that you leave maybe on the DNS, maybe it could be on the domain names, the domain server. If there are some services that have to be turned off so that some ports can be protected. So a system you can have such a risk where some security services are running and some are not turned off. So that could also be one of the system risks.
All right. Thank you, Lashford, for sharing.
Mic check. Can I also comment?
Yes, yes, Moses.
I was just looking also at, for example, looking at cloud systems. It could be a banking system, and they have a database hosted in the cloud. The security of that database matters a lot to the ones who are accessing the front end. And so if the database is not secure, then there'll be a vulnerability of an attack.
Okay. All right. Thank you.
Maybe to add on.
Okay. Yes, Beric.
Risk. Maybe some systems that are running on old patches that are not updated. It is also a risk.
Okay. All right. Thank you. So let us look at the people from team information risks.
Yes. So my name is Trevor. We were doing the information risks, and what we did, we based all the risks on the first three principles for security, the HCIA principles. What we found, we could have things like risks like type of delivery, if the way data is going to be delivered, from where it is being collected from, up to its destination, because in case it's not encrypted, that ties in with things like the source of information and how it is processed. These days, there are multiple third-party vendors who process different kinds of information. In case in point is the different payment gateways that we have. An example would be Flutterwave. If Flutterwave were to get a problem, it could potentially leak quite a number of specific information about different people and what they do and how much money is there, what is there, and all those things. So the source of information and how it is processed could also be a very big risk in this case. Depending on how the data is also stored, that could be another risk, because if this information is stored, it depends on how sensitive it is. It may require encryption or it may not, so that it is widely available to people. But that as well could be a risk on its own. There's also the human side of it, whereby if in case of information access, there could be impersonation or colluding to say, you know what, let us sell this data to these different people. And we tell them that this is the data, this is where it is. And we give them the data that they don't need to actually see. There could also be, with the human side, we could also have weak passwords or just weak access credentials that people don't know about. Then these things can also be taken advantage of to get into the system and get all this information without any kind of authorization, really. I think those are all, in case any of my other members would love to add anything.
Okay. Wow. You have well explained information risks. Too bad you're in a Zoom call, but if you're in a live session, I would ask participants to help you, to help me give you a round of applause.
Yeah. One question, Mr. Hammer.
Yes, please. Go ahead.
Concerning the information risks, in cybersecurity, there is, let's say if you're doing Cisco cybersecurity, you find that there is forms of information. Information is in forms. For instance, there is information that is being processed, information that is in transit, and information that is being stored. Did the group by any chance look at these risks that comes with information pertaining to those forms?
Yes, we did try to take that into consideration. What we did is that if you look at all the points, especially in the type of delivery, that's information in transit. If it depends on how it is taken into account. So if the information in transit is not actually well protected, things like just basic HTTPS, if it is not encrypted, that alone is a risk on its own. You know, the information at where it is being stored, the information storage location as well. If that is not taken into account, it also comes back. We also come back to things like the physical risks, the location where it is being held. These things have to be taken into consideration when talking about all the risks that we have.
Okay.
All right, thank you all. Let us now look at application risks. Team application risks. Was there anyone from application risks?
Hello. From
Yes,
the application risks, we said that these are risks or vulnerabilities that can be exploited through applications. An example we had was those links that are always sent via WhatsApp. Maybe you click on a link and maybe win KFC through Jumia. I think most of us have seen those links. So when one clicks on such a link and then data is obtained from their device through that way, we said that's an example of an application risk, because the threat or the vulnerability has been exploited through an application, which is WhatsApp in this case. Yeah, that's what we came up with.
All right, thank you, Desire. Team management risk.
Hello. Frederick Odongo. I'm going to represent our team. We looked at management risk as risk that results from maybe poor management of the information security policies. We looked at things like password management. We have situations where you find that someone maybe writes their password and sticks behind the desktop. So then someone else can easily view the password and then use it to get into the systems. We also looked at information sharing. Some people will share critical information maybe through email, maybe like things like passwords and usernames, which then hackers can easily get hold of. We also looked at information sharing policies that sometimes are ignored. You find that maybe you have a lab in an institution and the usernames and passwords are pinned on the wall for anyone to see. We also looked at negligence, where you have an employee who is handling a sensitive system, sits on, maybe takes a walk to get tea or something, then someone can easily get into the system and cause damage to it. Yeah, that's basically what we looked at from team management risk.
All right, thank you so much, Odong, for sharing. All right, I want to take this opportunity to thank all of you for taking part of this discussion and for taking off time to discuss with your peers. It's very important for me, and I think you have get to know and learn, I think, of two from your peers. So we all talked about the physical risks already, isn't it? We talked about the physical risks already. Just a moment. Remove this. Okay, we all talked about the physical risks already, and we some of them that I hinted or highlighted in this a document would be like either theft and destruction, someone walking into your office and stealing the computers, or even destroying your machines or properties. Things could be like link aging, your links aging and running out of, wearing out, all man-made damage, or even bites from animals, like the rat could enter your network rack and destroy your network cables. And it could be a network device fault. It could be a network device unavailability due to power failure. It could be any electromagnetic radiation in the equipment or in the equipment room. And those are some of the examples, but it doesn't mean that it is limited to that. There are quite a number of them. With the information risks, our colleagues explained to detail some of the, the risks that would be involved in where the information is, stored or during transit, how that information is accessed, or even how that information is processed. We'll just go ahead and move to our next slide. And of course, they talked about transmission, that, as we are transmitting our information, there could be an attacker somewhere on our system who could, tap into our information and tamper our information and either leak our information or tamper with our information. And by the time it gets to our headquarters, our information has been tampered with already. Let me go back just a little bit. Still with access, we can get some guy who is not authorized to access a few particular files, but they are able to get let's say the login credentials, and they get illegal login from our authentication server on our network, and they're able to access our files from our system. That it could be the network security access. So we look at also the system risks. You talked about many of them. Not forgetting also the database system configuration security, security database, and security of services running in the system. All right, so about the application, you talked about quite a number of them. There are also these ones like network, virus, like the operating system security, like the email application security, web service security, FTP service security, and DNS service security, and business application software security. And you can also decide to look at those in detail. The network risks, our colleagues also talked about them. There's so many things you need to put into consideration, where your server room, the zone where your server room should be, or your core or aggregation, switches should be, or even the office zone, and of course the different security levels on your network and all the risks that could be associated with them. So the management risk here, you determine whether the information system has management risks from the following steps. Of course, you look at the national policy. What does it say? Is our information system in compliance with our national policy, effective national information security regulations formulated, and of course specialized agency to manage information security? You also look at the enterprise system. You look at the enterprise system, and with the enterprise system, here you are basically trying to, let me go back to the previous slide. You're trying to look at the enterprise system and the system management rules and equipment room management system with clear responsibilities and rights. Of course, this you also can establish your own security management organizations. but you look at the national policy and see if you're in conformity with the national policy. And of course, you also look at the different enterprise systems that you can embed in your system. Then you come down to your management system. This one, it is with the effective security policy and high quality security management personnel, and effective supervision and inspection system, and adherence to rules and regulations. Yep. So we all know that effective management is very, very, very essential for every kind of project. And that's why also in information security, effective management is an essential part of achieving information security goals. It is a role that should not be underestimated, because we are entirely dependent on how we are going to manage our information security to be able to provide, and prevent attacks on our data. So according to the statistics, about 70% of the enterprise information loss is caused by negligence or internal leakage by our internal staff. We all agree that our employees in our business, they're the people who are closest to our information. They're the people who handle the information of the organization on a daily. They're the people who store the information. So, and if they are negligent, or if they are not careful, or if they are malicious, they will end up more oftenly causing harm to our data. So according to the study that was done, about 70% of information loss was caused by, of course, human beings or human interactions with our information. And about only 30%, that means it's caused by our different technologies. As you can see from this illustration, about the 70% was caused by, of information loss was caused by human negligence. And this is basically because some have weak security awareness among our employees, and they are not aware that, you know what, I need to log out after I log into a machine. Imagine if your employee walked into your bank employee, you have your employer who is doing internet banking, or preferably your HR, let's say, in a company, who is responsible for making payments. They go into an internet cafe, log into the company payroll system to pay people and do their internet banking, and they forget to log out, and they leave their portal open, even if it's just for a few seconds. If there's someone who is brilliant, they could exploit and lead to exploit the vulnerability and lead to loss of data. Of course, malicious data theft. There are some employees who are part of organization and they are malicious. They intentionally steal data. And if you also have non-standard system operating procedures, like let's say you don't know who is concerned with what, you don't know how you're supposed to access data. Some companies are strict. You can only access data or copy data from their devices when you're using unencrypted devices. Some actually do not even support, some portable storage devices, like let's say flash disks and all that. So it depends on your standard system operations. And of course, loose authentication rules. Like let's say you want to make the system a bit easier, you want to make it easier for your employees to be able to access the system, so you decide to create a password policy which is weak. It allows 2 characters or 3 characters. This could also lead to information loss. So about 30% is caused by technologies, and about 70% is frequently led or caused by management, which management is basically focusing on the human interaction with our information. We are seeing that security technologies are the only means to control information security. They can be effective with the proper support of management procedures. We all agree. If you don't have proper support for management procedures, even if you had the most secure place and you has razor beams on the door to access them, and the system engineer comes with his wife and opens the door and lets his wife access everything, I mean, you have put everything in place in vain. So it is important that as even you have secure system technologies, security technologies, you make sure that you also have appropriate support of management procedures. The current development of information security, there is an introduction of information security development strategies and plan. Many countries have come up with information security development strategies and plan, and they continue to refine them every single day. If you go on NITA's page, you'll come to appreciate that also Uganda is trying its level best to up its game as far as information security is concerned. Strengthening legislation to achieve unified and standardization management. This is the defining and standardizing information security work through laws is the strongest guarantee of effective implementation of security measures. Also, still, each country is trying its level best. At the same time, also Uganda is trying. I think on the past decade, there have been so many laws as far as cybersecurity is concerned that have been enacted. Of course, also entering the era of standardized and systemized management. The era of standardized and systemized information security management began in 1990s, according to ISO. And we shall focus so much on this standard, this family of standards, and it's the best known system. So let me clear this drawing and go to this page. Before you answer, I have a poll for you. 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 All right. So let me see. Let me see. Let me see. Okay. Poll. So I am presenting the poll to you on your screens right now. Kindly choose what you think the answer is. And later on, we are going to try and discuss briefly about that particular question. Kindly take off time and fill in that poll which is presented on your screen. The question reads: information security incidents frequently occur because of security attack methods such as vulnerabilities, viruses, and backdoor programs. True or false?
False.
Right. I'm seeing about about 70 responses. We are over 100 on the group, so kindly fill in the poll a bit faster so that we can move forward. All right, so I'll be ending the poll in the next 5 seconds. If you have not yet filled it in, kindly go ahead and fill it in. We have 85 out of 99 so far. We have 85 out of 100, so I'll be ending the poll from here. And boom, that is how you have decided to answer the question. You have decided, most of you, 70% of the people in this class found it fit to go with true. To go with true, and about 30% of the people in this class, of the people who responded to the quiz, found it wise to go with false. But let us try and read through the question again and try to, understand. We are saying that information security incidents frequently occur because of security attack methods such as vulnerabilities, viruses, and backdoor programs. But if I'm to take you back just a little bit, here, if I'm to take you back on this slide, we said that according to some of these statistics, and we say that about 70% of the loss of information loss, this was caused by, of course, due to by attacks, is caused by negligency or internal leakage of internal staff. And this is the human beings. So when I go back to this question, I understand, yes, vulnerabilities, viruses, and backdoors also still cause security, information security incidences. But in my opinion, do you think they frequently occur because of these guys or because of the negligency of human beings or human errors?
Negligence.
What do you think?
It's the negligence of human error of human beings.
Because if you did not put an infected flash disk or download an email on your account, which is infected, do you think your computer would get infected? If you do not go ahead and click on the WhatsApp anniversary free data link that was shared, and a backdoor couldn't be installed on your computer, do you think this backdoor would be installed on your computer?
No.
No, not at all. Not really.
But if you went ahead and you clicked on the link and there's a cybersecurity incident, who would be to blame? The backdoor program or the person who clicked on the link?
The one who clicked on the link.
If you went and picked movies from your neighbor, from some video library, the movies using your hard drive, which is containing your information at work, you know very well your IT department gave you the hard drive to store company data, preferably you work in any editing company and they give you hard drives. But for you, since it's a weekend and you feel like you're going to be bored, you pass by your video library guy and tell him, you know what, guy, put for me some 10 movies here, like 10 series I go and watch over the weekend. And then at the end of the day, this guy also received a flash on his computer which was corrupted, and you end up corrupting your files. Who is to blame here for this cybersecurity incident?
It is you, the staff.
It is me, the staff. So that's why it leaves us with our answer being false, much as the majority went with the false. But if the word frequently was not there, then of course our answer would be true. All right. I have another thingy for you as well.
Nice quiz, nice quiz.
Nice quiz, eh? Yeah, it happens a lot for people when they are in the exam and they have seen things, they rush to, to answer. But then there's one more. There's one more. Okay, I want to, okay, stop share. Okay. All right, so there's one more. One more here. Launching now. Have you all seen it? Have you all seen it? I think it's, I think
Yes.
maybe you're still
Yes,
ready.
please.
All right, please kindly go ahead and fill it in. It's basically saying that on the surface, threats such as viruses, vulnerabilities, Trojans are the cause of information security incidents. But at the root of it, information security incidents are also strongly related to people and information and information systems themselves. fill it in so that we can move forward. We're running out of time for today's class. All right, I'm going to be ending it in less than a minute. So if you have not yet filled it in, kindly fill in the poll that is presented to you on your screen. All right, so I'll end it now. And share the results. You're seeing the results?
Yeah, we can see.
Okay. According from our poll, about 96% of our participants said the answer is true, and about 4%, those are 3 people, said that the answer is false. But I want to reaffirm and say that the answer is true because we have already looked at this before. I mean, the previous question almost explained this, isn't it?
Yes.
Yes, yes, yes.
Yes.
All right. So I add you one more.
Yes. Please add.
Yes, I'd keep them coming.
This
is the very.
Yeah.
We're enjoying.
Here you're enjoying. Okay, we shall look at let's proceed to the next slide. We shall look at more later on. So we are saying here that in summary we have looked at information security development history and of course the basic concepts of information security, and that is for this chapter. So allow me to go ahead and share this as well. Okay, just a moment. We go through it very fast. It's our last chapter for today. I'm sorry you have not had a break, but we have not used our time appropriately. So allow me to proceed to the next chapter. All right, so let me ask. Information security standards and specification is a chapter we're going to be looking at today. And what do you understand by the word standards? Anyone?
Check.
Yes,
Mic
go
check.
ahead. Go ahead and speak.
I think standards are a particular set of rules that you must adhere to.
Okay, a particular set of rules that must be followed or you must adhere to, like guidelines, someone has said in the chat. And what comes to your mind when you see the word specifications? Jonah Sanu is saying a level of quality. Okay, anyone else?
Characteristics.
Maybe the rules.
All right, characteristics, maybe the rules. All right. So let us continue. We're saying here that in the process of information security construction, many companies comply with international standards and specifications to develop their own information security specifications. Think of these as policy specifications and improve on their operations. So in this chapter, it's going to describe and analyze several international information standards to help us better understand information security. If you want to be a good information security or cyber security specialist, you also need to make yourself familiar with the standards out there and what they stipulate, and the good practice and what is recommended internationally. So that's why we are looking at this chapter and want to understand some of those guidelines. So upon completion of this course, you will be able to describe common information security standards. You'll be able to tell the significance of information security standards, and of course highlight main points of common information security standards. So let us look at the information security standards and specifications in detail. So like I've said before, standards are normative documents that are jointly formulated, approved by recognized authorities, and are used throughout the industry to achieve the best security. Maybe what we can take out of this statement is that, one, it is documented, and then two, most cases it is jointly formulated and it is approved by some of those recognized authorities, and it is used throughout the industry to achieve the best security and quality. So trying to move my slides. Okay. All right. So how can an enterprise build a secure information security? Or how can an enterprise build a secure information system? This is, I think, some user asking. And of course, the answer is simple. They need to implement each state according to the international authoritative standards. They need to make sure that whatever system they're building and they're coming up with is conforming to the international standards. And that's how and only their standards can be globally accepted. So let us try and look at the different information security standard organizations that have been very, very instrumental as far as information security is concerned. So international organizations related to information security standardizations, we have two of them, which are related to international organizations. Kindly take note of that. We have two of them that are related to international organizations. And these standardizations, we have one which is International Organization for Standardization, which some people call the ISO, and the International Electronical Commission, which some people call the IEC. The ISO here is a global non-government organization, and it plays a very important role in international standards. It has been published quite a number of standards internationally and related documents for almost most fields, including industries such as military, oil, and also shipping. And when it comes to the International Electronic Commission, it was the first international organization which was established for preparing and publication of international standards for all electronic and related technologies. We also go ahead and look at some of the Chinese standards. We are seeing Chinese. There are two of them from China. One is the China Information Security Standardization Technical Committee, which the Standardization Technical Committee from China, and the Cyber and Information Security Technical Committee, TC8 of China Communication Standards. International security standardization began, I think, around the 1970s, and over time, it has kept on developing, but it started to rapidly develop in the early 1980s, and around the 1990s, there was a lot of attention given to this standardization. So at present, we have almost nearly 300 international and regional organizations that are establishing standards or technical rules on how we can be able to, to conform and have one specific kind of guiding document for a particular field. Let us try and look at other standards organization. We have one which is the International Telecommunications Union. The ITU is basically a UN specialized agency for communication and communication technologies. It's one responsible for allocating global radio spectrums and of satellite orbits, and it also develops communication standards. It also works very close with telecommunication infrastructure in the developing countries, and also it helps to promote global telecommunications development. The Ietf, which is the Internet Engineering Task Force, it's a large open international community for network designers, operators, vendors, and of course also researchers who are concerned with the evolution of the internet architecture. These are some of the standards that are available today, which you can benchmark from. So the common security standards and specification, there's the China graded protection. We are going to look at it later on in this chapter. And of course, the ISO 27001. We're also going to look at these standards later on in this chapter, and the US Trusted Computer System Evolution Criteria, and the European Union Information Technology Security Evaluation Criteria. These are some of the common security standards. Let us look at the ISO family of 27001 information security management systems. So we are saying here that the information security management system, the ISMS, based on the BS 7799 standard, was developed by the British Standards Institution, the BSI, and has now been widely recognized as an international standard, which is what we are calling the ISMS, the Information Security Management System. It has now been recognized as the international standards, and it has these steps. It has the plan step. Also keep in mind that it is a cycle, which is repetitive in nature, but this cycle starts with the plan phase, and in the plan phase, basically it looks at the planning and preparation. Here you establish the different security policies and objectives, processes and procedures relevant to managing risks, and also improving information security to deliver results in accordance with an organization's overall policies and objectives. So you're looking at establishment of these different security policies and objectives and processes and procedures. So this all happens in the planning and preparation phase, which we are calling the plan. From there, we move to the next step, which is the do. And in the do, basically here you come up with your information security management system document. You develop the document, and after developing the document, then you implement and you start on the operation processes. So implement and operate the information security management system policy, and also you start implementing on your controls and processes and procedures. From the do phase, we move to the check phase, and with the check phase here, we see our information security management system in play, right? We see it in operation in the check phase, but also as it is in operation, we try and assess, and where applicable, we measure the performance against the policy which we documented. Remember, we documented it in which phase? Who remembers? In the do phase. Yes, we documented our information security management system in the do phase, but now after us in the check phase, remember already we have implemented, during the operation stage. Now we check and assess, and we now tie our performance against the policy and see our objective and the practical experience and report the results to management for review. Now, after we move to the next stage, we have looked at check, which also includes monitor and review. We now on action, which is now maintain and improve. So in action, we now examine our information security management system. Yeah, we review it and we continuously try to improve on it. And if there is need, we take corrective action, and sometimes we also take preventive action, because you don't wait for something to occur for you to now correct something, but sometimes it is required of you as a security expert to take preventive action based on the results from either an information security audit or even the management review report, which was presented to the management, or even the relevant information. Maybe you have heard there's a vulnerability in this, let's say, Microsoft Windows, service running. You can of course use that relevant information to go ahead and improve on your plan and how best you can implement your information security management system. This helps you to achieve a continual improvement of your entire system at large. Like I said, ISO has so many standards. You can take off time and read more about them if you want to. But in this particular course, since we are cybersecurity professionals or security engineers, we are going to focus so much on only these family of standards, these two. The family of 2701 and 2702, and we're going to look at them in detail and get to know what is entailed. Okay, of course not in detail, but we're going to just get to know what is entailed in 2701 and of course in 2702. Okay, so in 2701, it basically looks at the specification with guidance for use. Kindly take note of that. Specification with guidance for use, and that way it looks at information security management system requirements. Yeah, so we are looking at specification with guidance to use, whereas our ISO 2702, it looks at the code of practice for information security management, or the code of practice for information security controls. That's the difference between these two. So as a security engineers, you will take off more time to read these two, family of standards from ISO and of course from IEC. Let me clear my screen and move to the next slide. So we are saying that the ISO or that our family of 2701 is an international standard that describes the requirement for an information system management. It specifies the requirement for an information security management system. Basically, we are looking at the requirements and the standards for implementing and establishing a security management system. After we get the requirements, we need to tie and see if they conform with this internationally recognized and accepted policy. And after, when it does, then we go ahead and we implement our information security management system. Whereas, like we said in the previous slide, the 2702 proposes 35 control objectives. It proposes 35 control objectives and 113 controls across the 14 categories. Which categories we are going to look at? So we are looking at 14 categories which contain 113 controls, and specifically the ISO 2702 proposes 35 control objectives. So these control objectives and controls are the best practices of information security management. Still, even as we are maintaining and we are following our plan, do, check, and action in our, remember this is in line with our information security management system. Our information security management system complies with this, but even as we are implementing and as we are focusing on our standards, international standards, we need to keep in mind that our information security management system complies with our ISM plan, do, check, and act standards, which were proposed by the British international company. So we are looking at the control objectives and the controls that are best practices of information security management. So information security management operations, if you want to know more about them, you have to, get the IEC 2702 and you get to read more about it. So you find out what does this policy say, and then provide best practice rules. That it's if it's a password, how should the password be? The password should have a very good complexity of about these characters. It should have maybe one uppercase. It should maybe change this frequently. And then you come and look at what it provides the best practice rules. And after providing the best practice rule, you come back and see what you looked at when you're going to implement your information security management system, which is the information security management idea, and then you'll be good to go. So let us try and look at some of the 14 control areas which we talked about. We said in our 14 control areas, we have 113 what? Control what? Are we still together?
Together. We are listening.
Yep. Yes,
Yes,
we're
we're
listening.
yeah.
All right. That
You're right
is
in.
good. Oh, okay. So we are saying, so we are looking at some of these 14 control areas, and one of them is information security policies, which gives guidelines on how organizations and people out there should come up with their security policies to be implemented in the organization. Of course, it looks at also the organization of information security, how the organogram of the organization, how is information security going to be organized in a given organization. It looks at the human resource security. It looks at the organogram of the organization, and of course the job description, who is mandated to do what, who is supposed to be in a particular position, and who is supposed to manage what. It looks at asset management, when are our assets due for disposal, how and what assets should our employees use when accessing our information, blah 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 blah, and so on and so forth. It also looks at the access control. How do we assign access to our users? Which procedure should they go through before we assign them control to our systems? All when they leave, how long should we take to revoke their access in the system? How are we going to identify them on our system? And cryptography, of course, as well. How are we going to decrypt and encrypt? We look at physical. Could you please mute your microphone? Physical and environmental security, operation security, communication security, system acquisition, whether you're going to outsource, and if you're going to outsource, what's the procedure you're going to go through when you're getting your SLAs, and if you're going to build the system in-house, then what should you do and what is required of you? Of course, the supplier relationships, the information security incident. In case an incident occurs, how are you going to manage it? How is management going to go about it? And also it looks at information security aspects of business continuity and compliancy. And the IT auditors, someone said they wanted to be IT auditors. The IT auditors focus so much on the 14th element of the control areas in ISO 2702, because it's the one which talks about compliancy mostly. All right, so we have already looked at some of this and I already shared this document. I'm not going to read through everything here, but basically we are just going to see that we have different stages. And remember, what complies with this standard?
ISO 27001.
This standard?
Sorry?
This particular standard, not this necessarily, but this down here.
It is
which has planned do check.
ISMS.
ISMS.
SMS.
Information
yeah, in
Security
class.
Management System.
Thank you.
Yeah, it's
Thank
the
you.
ISMS.
Very good. All right. So we're also saying that the ISO 27001 project implementation methodology. This is the methodology that ISO 27001 which it recommends and its steps. And we see it has 5 steps. The first step being project initiation and various analysis. During this initiation stage, this is where you, of course, kick off the project and you start your meetings, you meet your team, you select your team, you get the resources, and of course, you go through entire, rapid assessment of information security management and status and information security policy design. This is when you come up with your policy design and training of the management. In the second stage, which is a risk assessment, training on asset collection and risk assessment methods, threats and vulnerability identification and security vulnerability scanning. This is happening in the risk assessment because you're trying to identify the kinds of risks that that would be around in your your project or your particular organization. And then after that, you have after you rating your risks, either it is low or moderate or it is high, then you have yourself a project review meeting. Then you go to the third stage, which is a system design and release. In this stage, as people are coming up with their system, for you also look at the risk tolerance and preference determination. You see which risk you can, you can tolerate or which one has to be handled. If it has to be handled, you look at risk handling and rectification plan implementation. And then after you have your system integrated together in the information security management system document preparation, and then after you release the information security management system release and training. In stage 4, where you have your system operation and monitoring, there's a development of information security management performance monitoring process. Here you run a trial of your information security management system, and after that you have your system monitoring, and of course you check your business continuity management training program and the project review meeting to see if you are hitting your targets or if you're still following the planned and prepared documents before. In the fourth stage, which is certification and continuous improvement, here is where you carry out the internal audit of your information security management system. After getting your views, you also get an independent auditor. You get an external auditor to audit your information system management system, and after that you get management's review, and depending on that review, you decide to continually update and correct and prevent. You carry out preventive measures on your system. Still, you go ahead and have project meeting and review your progress, and then assist in follow-up of internal and casual audits that may arise out of that. So I shared this document already. You can go ahead and read through it. And I want to use these remaining few minutes to go through the China's graded protection of information and information carriers based on their importance levels. Remember, this is a Chinese document, and for them, they use the graded protection of information and information carriers based on their levels of importance. I'm not going to go read through all this. If you want, you can find out you can get time and read through that. But basically, it looks at the national regulations and requirements. It also looks at the supervision by a public security department. This is a department which is in charge of making sure that they supervise this entire thing, and it is implemented by headquarters of various companies in China's and different industries. So the graded protection of information security refers to the graded security protection of crucial government information It also looks at private and public information of legal persons or the citizens and organizations in China. And also it looks at information systems that store, transmit, and process the information. So the graded management of information security products in information system, there is a graded response to and handling of information security instances in the information security systems in China. So what is its significance? It's a major significance, sorry, my pen moved. It's significance or importance. One is to improve protection and resource allocation. With improving protection, it effectively improves the overall information security assurance and resolving threats and major issues faced by information security. And of course, it helps in optimizing resource allocation. So by investing in limited financial material and human resource in key areas to maximize economic benefits of security. And then the second importance, it looks at the law and regulation compliancy. Here, the corporate sector that does not carry out assessment of graded protection will be rectified accordingly to the relevant regulations. So if it violates the provisions of China's cyber security law enforced in around June 2017, this company will be punished according to the relevant laws and regulations of this that were put in place around in 2017. And trust me, when China says they will punish, they actually go ahead and punish. Article 21 of that cyber security law says that the state implements a tiered cyber security protection system, whereas Article 59 says that where network operators do not perform cybersecurity protection duties provided for in Article 21 and Article 25 of that law, the administrative department shall order corrections and give warnings. Where corrections are refused or it leads to endangerment of cybersecurity or other consequences, a fine of between their money, which will be listed there, shall be imposed to those persons. And persons who are directly in charge shall be fined between that given amount of money. And trust me, when the government of China says that they will fine you, they make sure that they go ahead and they fine you. So around in February 1994, China, passes decree. So decree number 147 of the State Council, Regulations of the People's Republic of China for Safety Protection of Information System, decided that they had to come up with this graded protection kind of document. So it has, after nearly 20 years of development, the graded protection has experienced 3 stages. It has gone through, from about 1994 to 2003, where the Chinese called for strengthening of information security and proposed graded protection of information systems. So from around 2004 to 2006, which was the development stage, many protection related standards and specifications were formulated and piloted. And from about 2007 to now, which is a promotion stage, and I believe that is the reason why this graded protection document is in our document. I think it's because they are under the promotion stage and they want to promote it. So it started grading, assessment, rectification, and review. And all sectors started comprehensive grading and rectification. So basically the scope of that document, it looked at protected objective, which is the big data, of course, the information systems, and the basic information network. Part of the information system of the computer, because we're looking at information security, they looked at industrial control systems because there's so much of an industrialized country. So industrial control systems, they had to pay maximum attention to that. And they looked at also at Internet of Things. Of course, they also looked at cloud computing platforms. and information systems using mobile technologies. Then this is how their graded thing works. The grades are defined based on the extent of the information system damage to the systems and society and state. So grade 1, basically, if the destruction of information system would cause damage to the legitimate rights, or let's say to the citizens, but would not cause damage to our national security, or could not cause damage to our public interests, then that would be termed as grade 1. As long as the damage is just to the citizens or to the legitimate rights of the systems, that would be grade 1. Now, they would grade you grade 2 if the destruction of information system would cause severe damage to the legitimate rights of the citizens, severe damage, and also at the same time cause damage to the public interests or the social order, but does not cause damage to the national security, then they would grade you, they'll put you in grade 2. You will be graded to be part of grade 3 if your concern does not create severe damage to, or damage to the citizens, but it creates severe damage to the public interests and damage to the national security, then automatically you'll be put in grade 3. You'll be put in grade 4 if there's no damage to the citizen, but there's severe damage to the public interest. At the same time, there's severe damage to the national security. Then still you would be put under grade 4. And lastly, you'll be graded grade 5 if the destruction of information system would cause particularly severe damage to our national security. Of course, there are some things which are, you as citizens, you see that government is, paying so much attention to them, and you're asking yourself, but we are not affected in any way, and we're not concerned about that. For us, we are enjoying. Why is even the government being, bothered about it? So China adopted that model to, grade and, assess its information security management systems. If you heard of the TikTok issue in USA, someone having any idea about it?
Yeah, we had that they were fined. They were
You
fined.
agree with me? All right. You agree with me that according to the citizens, they were okay and they were enjoying. They're recording their videos, right? And there's no kind of social order which is disrupted. But the government is telling us that, you know what? Due to matters of national security, this thing is not safe for us and we don't want to use it in our country. All right, so the basic technical requirements, basically each grade of protection has a corresponding technical requirement. And for example, the technical requirements for grade 3 covers 5 aspects. This is just an example. It covers the aspect of physical security, the aspect of app security, data security, network security, and host security. And part of network security, as you can see, it goes ahead and it lists down 7 control points and 33 items. And these are the 7 control points. And I will not talk so much about them. Yeah, but basically they have security, structure security, access control, security audit, boundary integrity checks, malicious code program, intrusion prevention, and network device protection. So the process of the graded protection or the graded protection process is the grading, which is the primary step of graded protection. After grading, you fill in or you do the filing, which is a mandatory procedure for notifying the supervision department of the graded protection construction. After, this is mandatory. You grade yourself. After then, you do the filing. And after then, the department will assess and method of the assess status of security protection. And after when they're done the assess, they do the rectification key to the implementation of graded protection. And then supervision. Remember, we said our our security department of securities is the one which is in charge of doing the supervision and external management of graded protection by that department. And other standards, we talked about this standard, which is the trusted computer system evaluation. I'm not going to go through so much about them. It was the first formal standard of computer system security evaluation. It was proposed by a Defense Science Board in 1970 and released by the United States Department of Defense in December 1985. And it has these different things. You will go ahead and read about them in your free time. We also look at the information technology security evaluation criteria, the ITSEC. And the ITSEC it was formulated by the United Kingdom, France, Germany, and the Netherlands. And it makes the progress in function flexibility and related evaluation technologies as compared to the previous standard which we have looked at, the TCSEC. So it's also applied in the military and of course government and business sectors. The beauty about this, it also integrates other documents like the TCSEC, and it also goes ahead and borrows from more standards. It looks at these different things of data protection and integrity, system availability, data communication integrity, data communication confidentiality, and network security, including confidentiality and integrity. Then there is the Public Company Accounting Reform and Investor Protection Act of 2002, which was also commonly known as a SOX. It was an act to protect investors. That's what maybe you should just note. An act to protect investors by improving the accuracy and reliability of corporate disclosures made to the security law and for other purposes. So what is the relationship between the SOX and information security? Clauses in the SOX Act regarding to the monitoring of contract management, basically monitoring of contract management and enterprise operations processes can also apply to information security inspections. And that brings us to our quiz today. Before then, allow me to pop this up. Oh no, the one with the quiz, All right, so I've popped up a poll on your screen. You should be able to see it. Kindly fill it in. But question 1 is saying, which of the following are internationally known information security standards organizations? After filling that in, you also go ahead and answer question number 2, which states that the information security management system complies with the dash process. So you have about 2 minutes to fill in the poll.
Done.
You're done? Okay. I'm seeing about 46 responses. I'm waiting. There are now 50 out of about 100, 50 responses out of 100. I'm still waiting. Kindly just go on your screen and fill it in.
I'm done too.
All right, we're going to see what we have answered. Kindly take note, there are some questions which are multi-choice and they require of you to select one or more answers. And the thing is about Huawei questions, more so in the final exam, if a question comes and it's multiple choice and you leave out one correct option, the entire question is wrong. If you also select one correct question and you select one wrong question, the entire question is also wrong. So you need to make sure that all the answers you select must be correct, minus you leaving out the correct answer. Please also take note of that. All right, so let me end the poll.
Meanwhile, sir, I was asking.
Yes, please.
Will also the exam be set like this?
Exactly. Some of these questions are got from there. Is it
Okay, sir,
easy? Is
thank
it
you.
hard?
It is easy.
Okay.
Hello?
Yes, please.
I was also asking.
Yes, please.
You talked about if I get one correct and one wrong, both of them, the whole number is wrong. But if I choose one and it's correct, then I'm not sure of the second one. So I leave it blank. What happens? That's also wrong.
Still, it is wrong, yes. Because you have left out a correct answer.
The questions are so interesting.
Are they? Okay, so let's look at this. We already talked about this, right? At the beginning of our slide about the standards, we said there are two common international known information security standards organization, and we talked about them and we said there were these two, isn't it? These ones came in other. Yes, these ones came in other standards, right?
Yes.
Yeah, but I'm seeing some people have selected quite a number of them. But kindly take note of that. Then question number 2. I have repeated this, I don't know how many times when I was presenting. And we said it was, which one?
It was plan, do, check, and action.
Check and action.
Plan, do, check, and action. I've repeated it like 6 times, isn't it?
Yes.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes.
But I'm seeing some people still went ahead and selected ISO and selected, I don't know, other things, IEEE. And
maybe they were not in class.
Oh, okay. Maybe they're not in class. Okay, so let me stop sharing this. And one more last one before we break off.
So somewhere, I
You think?
Excuse me?
Yes, please. You think at what? I didn't hear your question, but
the red ones are the wrong ones and the blue.
No. Those are purely your answers. It doesn't mean that they are the correct ones. Those are your answers. It just shows you how many people. The orange one shows you that people have selected more of that one as compared to the blue ones. All right, there's a poll on your screen about the information security management system. Kindly look at it.
We are done.
Already? Okay. But I'm only seeing 20 responses. All right. So kindly just fill that in, chap. The question is reading that which of the following, all right? The question is reading which of the following options is the correct sequence of the 4 phases of the information security management system.
I can't see anything here.
You check your polls or something. You check your different screens. You should be able to see it.
The answer is C.
The answer is C.
The answer is C. Yeah, you could call it PDCA.
Okay.
Now
So
we are
you're cheating
enjoying.
for your colleagues. All right. So I'll end the poll here and share the results. This is how people fill them in. Of course, the answer is C, but still we have some people who did PC do check. But I've just even written it on my screen. Remember, are we all together? Are we on the same page? I written it on the previous screen. Remember?
Yeah.
Yes. Yes.
Okay. All right. But it's okay.
And also
Otherwise,
it was from the last equation.
true. All right. So that brings us to the end of this class. Yes, please.
I was just asking, you said the ISO 27002 is 7001. I'm saying when they keep upgrading, like if they add more information into this standard, does the number keep changing or it remains the same number? Do they upgrade and
It
they
remains. It just
Yeah.
remains the same number. Maybe they just release different versions.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome. All right, guys. So allow me to call it a day, and we shall meet again tomorrow, same time.
Thank you, Papa.
Thank you,
You're
Ssendi.
most welcome. You're most welcome.
Thank you, Mr. Ssendi.
I hope you have learned a thing or two.
Thank you.
And thank you
so
for
much.
being an interactive class.
Mr. Ssendi, always read your emails.
Please, I will.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Mr.
I
Ssendi,
will,
still available? I had a
but
question.
in case it's about something that you want us to help you about the class, you can always post in the group. I'll respond to that a bit faster, but I'm going to kindly check my emails and I'll respond accordingly.
All right, bye.
All right.
Let's meet in
Come again?
Yeah.
You share the presentation.
Oh, okay. All right. Let me share the presentations right now before I forget.
Okay.
But thank you so much.
Okay.
All right. Oh, okay. All right. Jude, I've seen your concern. I'm going to go ahead and I have something I need to work on urgently, but I'll get back to you tomorrow morning, early in the morning, if that's okay with you. All right. Thank you so much, Tim. And,
Guys, don't forget this Champions League tonight.
Oh yeah.
Good night.
All right. Good night.
Yeah, good night.